What's going on, guys? For today's Mook review, we're taking a look at something pretty special and very different from usual. We're looking at a Star Wars model kit book here. Now, this is by a very familiar name if you've been watching these videos for a while, from Wild River, who is a common contributor to a lot of different Gundam books and works. He's most well known as a modeler for his dioramas, and so obviously we're going to be seeing a lot of very awesome Star Wars model kit dioramas here in this book. So a lot of cool stuff on the way to check out in this one. I'm a big Star Wars fan. I've built a couple of Star Wars model kits, but nothing obviously quite like this. So this is going to be really, really cool to check out. Let's go ahead and get into it here for today's Mook review. So let's get into it. Really cool image here on the front. I kind of like how it's like turned to the side sort of, but there we have the Millennium Falcon. It kind of in this crashed diorama here. Underside of that gives us the full image. Really, really cool. Normally I like to leave these bits on here, but honestly it does kind of just look better like that, doesn't it? Inside the dust jacket, we have really cool artwork here. Normally on a lot of these Mooks it's just kind of blank with just like the titling, but there's like this is the sketch for a diorama, not for that diorama, but this is like a sketch layout for a different diorama, which we'll probably see in here. But that's pretty awesome. Around here on the back side, another look at a AT-AT diorama here. We got the Disney Lucasfilm logos, the MSRP for this one at 3,900 yen, so about $35, not really too bad. On the inside, well, I'll give you guys a look at that. There we go. Oh, we got a bunch of soldiers and people down there at the bottom. That's pretty cool. And then on the back side here, yeah, once again, just sketches for dioramas, which again, very awesome. In the back side, a little intro or kind of bio there about Wild River. We'll come back to that as that's the back of the Mook. We'll start out here at the beginning where we have an introduction of a couple of other Wild River's books here. Wild River's S World, I guess that's for submarines, maybe it looks like. And then G World, which is his Gundam dioramas. There is also a second volume of G World, which I do also have, which we will be taking a look at. I don't have the first issue of G World, so I'll have to search for that one. But here we've got another cool diorama here for the first kind of opening page. And let's see what we've got. So we've got our table of contents, a little bit kind of introduction text here from Wild River, and then you can see a kind of collage image over here of a bunch of the stuff that we're going to have featured inside this. So it looks like we've got a bunch of different builds which are going to be featured, 15 in total. The ultimate length here is going to be about 112 pages to the very last page, so over 100 pages. Very nice. The Corellia Imperial Star Destroyer Shipbuilding Yard is going to be our first one here, it looks like, which looks really cool. I mean, one of the great things about having this in book form, which I hope is going to be possible for you guys to see, is to be able to see all the details in these nice, big, high-quality image. So we've got some text over here about it, and I'm assuming there's going to be some more text. It looks like the majority of this book is going to be primarily photos, which is awesome, but there will be some text kind of here and there in between, as you guys can see. It's all in Japanese, of course, but this does look really cool. And here you can see, as we're getting into some of the detail images, just how much detail it goes into Wild River's dioramas. That's one of the reasons why he's so good at dioramas, is just the amount of detail and everything. So, and then with this one, another really cool thing about it is just all the lighting with this. So it would be cool if there was, okay, so we do have some work in progress here, which is also nice to see. But I was going to say it would be cool to have images of this not in like the dark, just to be able to kind of better see the diorama in full. But I guess this is kind of like how it's made to be presented, so you know, that's fine. It looks like really cool parts here for these kind of like beam effects here that I guess are kind of like holding up the Star Destroyer as it's being constructed. Is pretty awesome. And then like the base down at the bottom is like set in like water, and this like sunken part is down like below the water inside the base there. So anyway, a lot of really, really cool aspects to this. For me personally, this is like way, way, way beyond anything that's within my scope. So normally when I like to look at Mooks like this, like looking at different Gundam Mooks, that's also kind of like above my skill level, but at least it gives me some like ideas and inspirations for my own builds. This is more so just like modeling eye candy for me. Like this is not something that I think is ever going to be anything that like I'm going to be getting into, just because it's just too far beyond me and just not exactly. I mean, like I love Star Wars and I love model building, but I'm not sure if this is something that I'm going to ever really get into, spend too much time on anything quite like this. But just in terms of being able to enjoy it as a Star Wars fan and a modeling fan, There's just a lot of really great eye candy in here. So we got some work in progress photos, which just kind of show some of like the added detail that went into that, like the customization to the Star Destroyer to make it look like it's kind of in the process of being built, and some more of the pieces. Looks like some of these pieces were 3D printed, everything. So a lot of really cool stuff there. So this is the build that is on the cover, the reboot of Millennium Falcon. Not only do you have it kind of crashing into the dirt with kind of the dirt and sand spilling up from the ground there, and then you also have it crashing into this gate, and you also have this like cloth which would have been like over the top of it, and that's kind of like flying off here, which you can't really see on the cover. Well, I guess you can. It's up there, it's not as noticeable, maybe just because it's kind of covered up by that, but that cloth is also a cool added effect on there as well. So like I was saying, a lot of detail, as in it's not just the model kit itself, which is really, really nice, but all of the attention to detail around on just the surrounding scene and everything, just to make it into a successful diorama, right? Just because you need to entirely set the scene. So you even have this kind of a separate aspect with the Nima outpost there, which is sort of like in the background. If you take a look here at the next page, you can kind of see that the Millennium Falcon's like over here, and then the outpost is kind of right here. So even though this is kind of like the front of the diorama, the focus, I mean, just all the detail and everything that went into the outpost there in the background as well, I mean, it's pretty awesome. So really cool stuff there. Cool to see this like photo of like how it might look at night too, just really awesome. So very cool. And it looks like maybe we are going to have a good amount of, at least a decent amount of work in progress. Obviously, like I was saying before, it looks like most of the Mook is going to be focused on just like finished photos, but there is going to be a good amount of work in progress in here too, which is really nice to see. So you can see some of that there with a bunch more text and the Nima Outpost AT-AT market. So I think this is a different build. Yeah, it looks like that, or I can't really tell. It's like a different build or just like an expansion of that, as in like you kind of built it in sections that can kind of like go together. But it looks like this is connected here, where it's this AT-AT market, where it's like a market here made around this destroyed AT-AT. But if you look back at this one, like it's not connected. So I don't know. I can't tell if it's just like expanded upon or if this is like a different. The Nima Outpost part looks to be, as far as I can tell, maybe the same or rebuilt again entirely for a separate diorama. I don't know. Anyway, it's awesome regardless. And I love this like crashed, destroyed AT-AT here with all the really awesome weathering done on that to make it look like it's destroyed and then built into this outpost. It's pretty awesome. So a lot of really cool stuff on there. The work in progress, again, it's really nice to see just all the little details added to that. So really cool. And the scale of this, we haven't really talked much about that. This is mostly based off of Bandai model kits. So like this is the Bandai model kits there. This is 1/44 scale, so that gives you a sense of scale for the entire diorama. And so I think the majority of the model kits featured in here is all going to be using Bandai models. So here we have AT-AT wreckage Rei's home in Jakku. Another scene here, just like the previous couple that we've had, scenes from Star Wars Episode 7. This one also pretty cool, kind of all the interior details there of Rei's home inside the wrecked AT-AT. This one seems like it's in an even smaller scale though. What's the scale for this? Let me see. Oh, there it is up at the top. I couldn't see it, kind of blending in with the sand up there. This is one. It's also 1/44 scale, so same scale as the last one, but I mean 1/44 scale, that means it's pretty small. This entire diorama is, I guess, probably only about like this big or something, I guess. So not very big at all. It just goes to show like all these tiny little details in there. Even her parked speeder, it looks like, inside there as well. Where would that be? Kind of over in that kind of back section. Right here, you can kind of see that. So it's pretty awesome. It's even got this guy over here, which you kind of can see if you take a look at the diorama in full down in this image, kind of like walking off to the side. It looks like he scratch built entirely the, I don't remember what it is or what exactly it's called, but in the scene in the anime, when she rescues BB-8 basically from this other guy who's like trying to catch BB-8. Anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about. And it had that really cool kind of like guy riding on this sort of animal that has this big like mechanical head on it. It's really interesting anyway, but scratch built that and added that into the diorama. You can see it's kind of like walking off right over here. So pretty awesome. All right, Cavern Angels now. This one is once again in, let's see, what scale? This is in 1/72nd scale, so a little bit larger scale here for this one. You can see we've got this kind of cave scene with an X-Wing. Again, just these interior spaces, it's pretty incredible how this is made. Because, I mean, just think about like how you would actually have to go about modeling something like this, where you're building everything on like the interior of a space. I would assume it's like kind of made in sections, and then like the top part is like put on last. But, I mean, I don't know. Again, it's way beyond me. And this is why like Wild River is so good. And if you guys ever get a chance to visit like Shizuoka Hobby Show or any like hobby show where they have like a large gathering of modelers there to bring and show off their works, I met him and saw some of his works there at Shizuoka Hobby Show, and I think he goes regularly. So if you guys ever get a chance, he's one of the people that you definitely want to check out his works in person if you get the opportunity, just because it's really, really incredible. So again, with this one, I mean, just there's a lot to see here. There's so much detail, so a lot of things that I could point out. I mean, just I love the roof, the ceiling of this cave. You have this kind of support structure there. It just visually looks very, very cool. So you can tell that he's obviously very much a Star Wars fan as well. I mean, just all the kind of attention to detail with everything. Okay, I think this is, I think this is the one that actually I saw in person. He had a couple of them there on display. I think one was not Star Wars, so that won't be in this book. Yeah, this is the one that I saw there at Shizuoka in 2019. This is from Rogue One, a Star Wars story. So the kind of market scene there. Pretty cool alien here with the stormtrooper riding on top of that. Don't remember that. Oh, I think that was like very, very briefly seen in the movie, kind of like in the background, but pretty cool. I'm assuming obviously that's going to be completely all scratch built. But it's this kind of scene. It's Jeddah City, and let's see if where was like the more full photo. Here's where you can kind of see like the full, it's just like this street scene, but there was so much detail packed into all of this. I mean, you can see just through these photos here, you have this like crashed X-Wing there at one end of the street, or kind of like in the middle there, I guess. And then all the detail with all these people and all this stuff kind of around everywhere, as you would expect for this kind of crowded street there. And there you can see like the sketch of everything, laying out all the different aspects, like blocking it out at first and then just kind of building it out from there, building the different aspects of that. All these like bricks and stuff that were all just handmade and painted and added onto there. So there's just a ton of detail. Yeah, anyway. All right, more Rogue One action here with the Last of Jeddah. So another scene here from Rogue One. This is a much smaller, this is 1/5000 scale. So this is using the Mecha Collection Star Destroyer kit. So it's like this big. So this entire, again, like this entire diorama is only going to be probably about like this big, quite small. And I mean, look at that. Just look at that detail. I don't know if that's like completely movie accurate, because I mean, I think that's a little bit too insane to try to, look at like the stills from the movie, try to match all that detail that closely. But regardless, that is incredible. Like in this scale, it basically looks like you just like, you have like if you build a lot of kits and you have like all your little nub pieces, if you just have those and just like dump them out into here, it's kind of basically what it would look like. But it looks really, really insane. Just all the detail put into that. It's amazing. All right. So, yep. All right. There's a nice close-up look at this just so you can see everything. But I mean, it's amazing. And then just aside from all of that, just the way that the diorama is displayed here, it looks like, I mean, I don't know if this is metal. I'm assuming it's maybe not metal, but how it looks like it's just kind of built on this like metal plate just for the display base for it, with this kind of like stair step kind of metal pieces below it. It's just a cool way to display the diorama. So it's really awesome as well. We got some more work in progress here on that, where you can see all the pieces being laid out. So yeah, I was wondering if he was using like, let's see, it looks like maybe not, I'm not sure. Or I was wondering if it was going to show that like he was using a reference image from the movie. I'm sure he was, like looking at references, stills from the movie, or maybe even like stills from an art book or something like that. But just building that out, man, is pretty incredible. All right, okay. Anyway, okay. interview time with Wild River, which is this guy right over here. So again, like if you guys are over there at Shizuoka Habisho or something like that, look for him to say hello. And this guy who I'm not sure, it's Masataka Narita. I'm not sure who that is. I'm guessing maybe someone involved with the Star Wars franchise, although I'm not sure. Maybe someone from ILM. Anyway, so interview section here, which would I'm sure be very interesting. It's all in Japanese, so you have to go through and like kind of translate everything. Conversation about some of these model kits. It looks like primarily model kits that they're talking about. It's just the ones that we've looked at so far from Rogue One and Episode 7. So a couple pages of that interview. Wild Star Wars here. So it looks like just kind of talking about some different Star Wars models and toys. I don't know, just like stuff through the years, basically. And then we have our Santa Trooper and Dewback. This is in 1/12 scale here for this one. So using Bandai's 1/12 scale Stormtrooper. The Dewback, I'm going to guess, is scratch built. It does look to be the case. So just kind of fast forwarding here to our work in progress images. You can see it looks like, yeah, this is all just scratch built from clay and then painted and weathered. I mean, like weathered. As you, I don't know, just to make it look realistic. Weathering on like an animal is kind of seems like a weird term to use, but it does look really, really cool there. And just the detail on that is really, really nice. So, and then the Stormtrooper as well. I mean, the Stormtrooper looks fantastic. The Sand Trooper, I guess I should say, sorry. But I mean, the detail of like these kind of bags with like the fur kind of on them and everything. And then the Dewback itself is honestly kind of even more impressive. So it seems like the Sand Trooper is kind of like secondary to the Dewback itself, but a really cool scene there. And then like just to be photographed outside, I'm assuming this photograph is outside with the natural light on it, just makes it look so much nicer even. So that's really cool. Next one here is also going to be from episode 4. We've got Informant at Mos Eisley. This is also in 1/12 scale, so we've got a bunch of stormtroopers here, and then also that guy, who I'm sure has a name, because every character who has ever been on screen in any Star Wars movie does have a name in lore. I don't know what it is. That guy with like the goggles and the weird kind of like elephant trunk, who tells the stormtroopers where they're hiding in Mos Eisley. Anyway, all modeled here in this scene. Really, really cool. One thing that I love about this scene is that, like, look at this compared to something like this scene that we had from Rogue One, where you have this big, massive scene in the street with all this detail and everything. There's just like a ton going on, and it's really impressive. This one also really impressive in a completely different way. It's so compact. You have like these few stormtroopers and characters just like within this really small space here. It's a completely different scale. And it's just a really, really interesting scene. Here you can see it like from above. It's just this little street scene right there in this really compact space here in this like narrow alley. And it's really, really interesting. So that's really cool. Again, a lot of great detail paid to like just some of these little aspects here, kind of details around this alleyway, right? And some work in progress over here, laying it all out. But I mean, that's really cool. All right, the Ronto. Another kind of new addition that was added for the re-release of episode 4 here, but this one I'm guessing is also another scratch build of that animal here. So yeah, you can see it's like done with wire and then aluminum foil wrapped around that to build out the shape, and then clay, and then refined all the details and everything. And it looks like this is all just kind of scratch built. Even the Jawas on here are scratch built. The Jawas, which are kind of like falling off as it's rearing up from the speeder speeding by, is like exactly the scene from the movie. But this is pretty cool. I don't think this actually is using any, it's in 1/35 scale it says, but I'm not sure if this is using any actual like Bandai model kits or anything, just because it looks like everything is entirely scratch built. Even the little speeder and the guy, I guess the guy here riding on the speeder is based off of an actual model kit. I don't know, it looks like some sort of just like model kit of a guy like riding a motorcycle or whatever, but it's modified obviously heavily to make it into this one there. So all right, attack on Echo Base. Now we're into Empire Strikes Back here on Hoth. You have these stormtroopers or snow troopers, right? That are rappelling here out of the side of the AT-AT. I don't remember that ever being shown in a movie. That's really, really cool, though. I mean, it does kind of make sense, and it looks awesome here. I don't know if we ever actually saw that in a movie, though, that I can remember. But it does look really cool. Anyway, so rappelling soldiers there and some heavy machinery. What's the scale on this one? This is also 1/44 scale, so again gives you a sense of just how big this is. That means that those little people there are about that big, maybe an inch, less than an inch tall. But another really cool scene here. Again, the outdoor photography looking so nice with this, taking it outside, getting that nice kind of overcast, cloudy sky to make it look like it's outdoor on Hoth. Very cool. And some like kind of sunset photos here, getting that magic hour light. Close-up details of the soldiers coming out of the AT-AT. So you can kind of see like some of the action, what's happening there on the ground as well. You have like the scout droids. I forget exactly what those droids are called. Anyway, kind of spy droids, right? Whatever. Those there. And all right, we have a few left. After some work in progress photos for that diorama here, we've got some more Hoth. This is Battle of Hoth. It looks like a kind of another like much smaller diorama here, but made up of kind of a few sections. So you have like a foreground and background parts here for this. The foreground part being this section here, the infantry battery, which we have some like soldiers here with this battery here, which you can see right there. And then this one, I'm not really sure that's like a different section. This would be the interior of the AT-AT, but I'm not sure where that is, because then we have a different section, which would be the actual AT-ATs there, which you can see in the background. So I think this is using some forced perspective to make it look realistic, because obviously they're in two totally different scales. With the AT-ATs, I'm guessing those are, once again, probably the 1/44 scale. And the battery here looks like it's probably in like 1/35 scale or something. So, all right, so yeah, there is 3 sections of this. Then we also have the interior of the AT-AT's head. So as you can see, like kind of AT-AT cockpit shadow box is what's used here, which is pretty awesome. So it's got all the lighting and everything that goes up underneath and feeds into the cockpit to get all this really cool lighting that we could see here, like for this photo. And there you can see like the different sections of this kind of diorama, how it's made up of different pieces that can be used for that forced perspective. It's pretty awesome. All right, Dagobah, we're here with Luke, R2-D2, and I'm guessing there's going to be a little Yoda somewhere in this diorama as well, although this very dark photo is a really cool photo of the diorama with some kind of very subtle lighting on the main pieces of that. There's our little Yoda right there. It looks like this is in 1/72nd scale for this, and there you got Luke, R2-D2, and the moss-covered X-Wing. Oh, I guess this is the scene where Yoda's lifting the X-Wing out of the swamp, right? So that's very cool. You even have some of the aliens that are kind of like flying through the air. There you can see Yoda. Man, this is pretty incredible. Like all the moss and vegetation, everything everywhere. You even have like a ceiling built for this, which would be kind of like the canopy, like a tree canopy, and with some lighting coming down through there to give it this really nice, interesting lighting, and even some underwater detail there, it looks like, maybe from the side. So a lot of really cool sections to this here as well. Really, really interesting how this is photographed with this really, really low light, really subtle light there. I mean, just to reflect how the scene is portrayed in the movie, but really cool. All right, Endor here. I think we have 2 little parts left here. Endor, we've got the couple of, I was really testing my knowledge. I can't remember the name of these particular type of stormtrooper here on the speeders racing around on Endor. Anyway, the speeder bikes, this is in 1/12 scale. And again, really cool, very contained little diorama with like a little just small base, and the kind of tree and the speeder bikes actually kind of like extending out beyond the space of the base of the diorama, which is very nice. So you have, once again, a lot of really cool detail with the vegetation, even like some like fungus growing on like a log here and all that. The actual modeling on the speeder bikes looks really, really nice in 1/12 scale. It's just got a lot of really, really nice weathering done on those. You even have some dancing Ewoks over here with a tree trap, but before that, here's the work in progress for the speeder bikes, building out the tree and then just kind of arranging the diorama. All looks really cool there. Yeah, and the tree trap and Ewok versus AT-ST here. So all these little Ewoks, I'm guessing, is all just scratch built. It looks like this is maybe the art that this is based off of. I'm not sure if this is Wild River's art or if this is like some official artwork that he just used as the inspiration for this build. But you can see the Ewoks are here cutting down the tree, which has fallen and crushed this AT-ST. Really, really cool. And then I think We'll have some work in progress here, just kind of once again showing this diorama, and interesting again how the diorama is laid out kind of in sections. Oh, you just have like this big board, and it's not like the entire ground is filling the board, but you just have ground in like the areas just where like the subjects are. So if you photograph it from the side here, like this image, you're still getting everything that you need to get. It doesn't look like there's any empty or missing spaces. And even in these photos over here, kind of in the photographed, like in the woods, actually outside, but just kind of cool how that's set up there. And we have some more work in progress photos, everything being all built up. Awesome. And then the pod racer carrier Eopi, I'm not really sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but kind of last little thing here, which again, I think is something that's, again, probably also entirely scratch built, but kind of really cool last addition here for this. Another kind of small diorama. What's the scale of this? What is it meant to be? It looks like it's made to be 1/35 scale for this one. Again, just a ton of really great detail here for this, from the character to everything like on the back of this horse, quote unquote, which is pulling this pod racer part there and everything. So, all right, so yeah, like I said, we got some credits here at the back, a little bio there about Wild River-san. Over here, it looks like an advertisement for some other Star Wars modeling books. Basically, Star Wars Modeling Archive 1, 2, and 3 available here as well. And that's it for this Mook. So a lot of really cool stuff in there. Like I said, Star Wars modeling, not something that I think I'm ever going to like really get super into, but as just a fan of modeling and Star Wars separately, really cool to take a look at some of the stuff in here. Definitely very awesome. Definitely check it out. But like I said, I do also have another book from Wild River, which is looking at some of his Gundam dioramas. So we'll take a look at that one later on. For now, guys, thanks so much for checking out this video. If you want to check out some Star Wars models or anything else from Bandai, also tools, paints, and supplies, you can check the link in the video description to USA Gundam Store down below the video. We've got all sorts of cool stuff there for you guys to check out. If you'd also like to leave a like, leave a comment, let me know what you thought about this Mook, let me know what some of your favorite dioramas in here were. I think mine's probably got to be this one just because how impressive that is, but it's definitely a tough competition, so let me know your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. I really appreciate all your guys' support. Thank you so much. Till next time, hope you all have a great day. See you guys later. Bye-bye.